Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into one of the Bible's most fascinating stories today.
Yeah, definitely a good one.
Um, we're looking at Jesus' visit
Okay.
to the Festival of Tabernacles. You can find this in the
Yeah.
Gospel of John,
Mm.
chapter 7. And it's not just some dry history lesson.
No.
It's a story
Yeah. Yeah.
about
Yeah.
faith out, what it means to believe,
Right.
even when things get
Absolutely.
extraordinary.
Yeah. And what's really interesting to me is that backdrop, right? You've got this Festival of Tabernacles,
Oh, yeah.
major Jewish celebration,
Huge.
just brimming with, joy and tradition. Families would be building these temporary shelters
Right.
called sukkahs, remembering their ancestors' journey through the wilderness.
Yeah, it's a powerful image.
Yeah.
But then you've got this tension, right? Even Jesus' own brothers,
Oh, yeah.
they're kind of pushing him like, hey,
Yeah.
if you're really who you say you are,
Right.
go prove it. Go
Wow.
public.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, family drama
Right.
mixed in with the fact that the Jewish leaders in Judea, they're not exactly fans of Jesus
Yeah.
either.
So you've got this incredible setup. Jesus is in a tough spot.
Absolutely. And his decision is even more fascinating, right? He chooses to go to the festival,
He does.
but secretly. Sneaking in like almost a character in a spy thriller, It's
Like a Steve
something
walking right into the lion's den. He knows the danger, but there's this deeper purpose driving him. It's just setting the stage for, oh, man, just a clash of ideologies.
Okay, so picture this. Jesus arrives at the festival.
Right.
Under the radar. What happens? What happens next?
Well, the crowds are already there, right? They're buzzing with anticipation, and everyone's wondering, where is he? Where's Jesus?
Right.
And then, boom, halfway through the festival, he just appears right there in the temple courts, and he starts teaching.
I bet people were floored. And it's not just any teaching, right? The Gospel of John tells us people were amazed by his wisdom, by his authority. They're asking, how did this man get such learning?
And then Jesus says something that just totally changes the game.
Oh, yeah.
He says, my teaching is not my own. It comes from the one who sent me.
Boom.
It's not just a scholar sharing ideas.
Right.
It's a direct claim.
It's a claim
to a connection with God.
Divine authority. And that's where the sparks start flying,
I bet.
Some people, they're convinced. They're like, this is it. This is the guy. But others, they're accusing him of being demon-possessed. Can you imagine the uproar?
It would have been intense, but the drama doesn't stop there, right?
Oh, no. It gets even more interesting.
Okay, so tell me what happens next.
So then he heals a man. Heals him right there on the Sabbath.
Whoa. That was a huge deal back then, wasn't it?
Huge. I mean, the Sabbath was sacred, a day of rest. But Jesus healing on the Sabbath, it just ignited this massive debate about what the law really meant and who had the authority to interpret it.
He was challenging the religious establishment head on.
Yeah.
They must have been furious.
Furious. They did not take it lightly at all.
So now we've got the crowd completely divided. Some think he's the Messiah,
Right.
the long-awaited Savior.
Yeah.
Others are just confused,
Yeah.
skeptical. I mean, there were lots of different ideas about what the Messiah would be like, right?
Absolutely. Some were expecting a warrior king,
Right.
someone to overthrow the Romans.
So when Jesus claims to be sent from God, it just throws everything they thought they knew up in the air.
It just throws a curveball into everything, right?
Right.
It completely defies their expectations.
And forces them to really grapple with who he truly is.
Exactly. But in the middle of all this controversy,
Yeah.
Jesus offers this incredible message of hope.
What'd he say?
He starts talking about living water for those who thirst.
I love that.
No.
It's such a powerful image.
Oh, it is. Think about it. In a dry, arid land, water is life.
Right.
It's refreshment.
Yeah.
It's sustenance.
Even salvation.
Exactly. So when Jesus offers this living water, he's not just talking about a drink. He's talking about something much deeper.
Right. He's talking about that spiritual thirst.
Yeah.
That longing for something more.
That only he can satisfy. He's offering this like a spiritual renewal, a connection to something beyond the everyday,
It really is a beautiful metaphor. It speaks to this universal desire we all have. That desire for meaning and purpose.
Absolutely. And this promise of living water, it's directly connected to believing in him.
It's not about rules or rituals.
Not about that. It's about a personal relationship, a relationship with him that brings this constant flow of spiritual life.
Before we go any further, if you're enjoying this deep dive and you're finding it insightful, please do us a favor and hit that like button.
Yes.
Subscribe to our channel. And if you know someone who might enjoy this exploration of Jesus' visit to the Festival of the Tabernacles, please share it with them.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the story. Even with this incredible offer of living water, I'm guessing not everyone's buying into what Jesus is saying.
Oh, you are absolutely right. In fact, the resistance, it intensifies. It gets even stronger. Despite all the compelling teachings and the miraculous signs, things just get, well, more divided, especially among those in authority. The Pharisees, in particular, they're just not having it.
So they're not just skeptical, they're actively opposed.
They're rejecting his words, and they're even condemning anyone who believes.
So it sounds like things are coming to a head.
Yeah, and it all really culminates on the last day of the festival, a day that was already, full of celebration and spiritual anticipation. The energy of the entire festival had been building to this moment.
What a setting for a showdown.
Right. And Jesus just seizes this moment. He stands up in the temple courts and just cries out, inviting anyone who's thirsty to come to him and drink.
This is where that powerful image of living water comes back in.
Yes. He's not talking about physical thirst, of course. He's talking about this deep spiritual longing, a desire for something more.
And he's promising that those who believe in him will have rivers of living water flowing from within them.
Exactly. It's a beautiful picture of the power of faith. And he explains that this living water represents the Holy Spirit, a gift that would be given to believers after his glorification. It's a promise of inner renewal, a source of spiritual life that never runs dry.
You know, it's amazing how this story from thousands of years ago still resonates today. I mean, haven't we all experienced that thirst for something more, that longing for meaning and purpose?
Absolutely. It's a universal human experience. And Jesus is speaking directly to that deep-seated need. He's offering a solution, a path to true fulfillment. But just like back then, not everyone is ready to accept what he's offering. Even with the miracles, the teachings, the incredible imagery, the crowd is still divided. Some hold on to their doubt, their skepticism, while others are just captivated. It's like a microcosm of the human condition playing out right before our eyes.
You know, I think that's a really important point, especially for anyone who might be new to exploring faith or just starting to grapple with these big questions. It's okay to have doubts. It's okay to wrestle with uncertainty. It's normal.
Right. And sometimes those struggles can actually lead to a deeper, more authentic faith. That's why stories like this are so valuable. They give us the glimpse into the messy reality of belief, the challenge of choosing a path that goes against the grain, and the transformative power of faith in the face of, real adversity.
And if you're finding this deep dive valuable, we encourage you to share it with a friend. Hit that share button, spread the knowledge, and let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, the more the merrier, right? We love connecting and learning together.
Okay, so back to the story. The religious leaders are fuming. What's their next move?
Well, their opposition just hits a boiling point. The Pharisees, they're desperate to discredit Jesus. So they resort to insults, accusations, questioning his background, dismissing his followers as ignorant and cursed. They even try to use these regional prejudices to their advantage, pointing out that no prophet is supposed to come from Galilee.
Wow. They're really pulling out all the stops.
They are, and it really shows how quickly things can turn sour when people feel threatened, It's like their resistance to Jesus' message exposes their own insecurities, the rigidity of their beliefs.
They're more concerned with maintaining their power than seeking truth.
You're right. That's a crucial dynamic here. This whole encounter highlights that tension that exists between tradition and open-mindedness, between those who cling to the old ways and those who are open to something new, a new way of thinking, a new way of experiencing faith.
And Jesus, he represents this radical departure from everything they know. And that can be really unsettling for those in positions of authority.
Yeah. And it's not just the Pharisees who are grappling with what they believe. The crowds, they're torn too. The text actually tells us they were divided because of him. They weren't sure what to make of Jesus and all his claims.
Right. And this division, this back and forth, it's a theme that runs through the whole gospel story.
It does. Because his very presence, his teachings, his identity forces people to choose, to confront their own beliefs. It's a challenge that, honestly, we still wrestle with today.
It makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, this isn't just a story from the past. It's this timeless exploration of our search for truth and meaning, something we could all relate to, no matter our background.
I agree. It's powerful. And as we get to the closing moments of this story, what are your thoughts on what makes it so relevant for us today?
I think it's the complexity, honestly. the way it shows the messy reality of faith, doubt, belief. It challenges us to think about what we hold on to so tightly, to ask ourselves if we're open to something new, something more.
Yeah, beautifully said. And before we wrap up completely, I want to talk about the temple guards who were actually sent to arrest Jesus.
Oh, yeah, them. What happened there? What was their reaction?
Well, they went to arrest him, but they came back without him. They said, "No one ever spoke the way this man does." Can you imagine?
It's like they were sent to do a job and were just completely blown away.
Yeah, Jesus' words, they just cut through all the noise.
Right through all their preconceived notions and prejudices.
Exactly, and it throws a wrench in the plans of the religious leaders. It just adds to the whole mystery around Jesus, you know?
It really shows you that sometimes the truth can reach the most unexpected people.
Absolutely. And even though those in charge, they stayed skeptical, there's a lot we can learn from Jesus' time at the Festival of Tabernacles.
So what are some of the key takeaways? What do you hope our listeners will walk away with?
Well, I think the biggest one is this. Faith. It's personal. It's a journey.
It's not always easy.
No, not always. You're going to have times when you doubt, when you question, you might even face opposition. But those tough moments, they can actually make your faith stronger.
It's like going through a fire.
Exactly. It refines you.
And the story also shows how important it is to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's not popular.
Oh, yeah. Even when it's tough. Jesus, he never backed down. Even when he was in danger, he stuck to his mission.
And that takes courage.
It does, and it's inspiring.
It reminds us to be authentic.
Yes, to live our truth. And you know, there's also this lesson about being open-minded. The people who were so stuck in their ways, they just completely missed the point of who Jesus was, what he was offering.
It's like they had blinders on.
Yeah, and a closed mind can lead to a closed heart, you know? If we want to grow in our faith and just in life, we have to be willing to listen and to learn.
To be open to new ideas.
To admit that we might not have all the answers.
And at the heart of this story, there's this beautiful image of living water. It speaks to that deep human desire for meaning and purpose.
It does, and it reminds us to nourish our souls, to connect with the divine, however we understand that. And if you're feeling that thirst for knowledge and inspiration, we'd love for you to join our community. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, we have so many more deep dives exploring all sorts of fascinating topics.
History, science, philosophy, the arts.
And don't forget to share this episode with a friend.
Yeah, spread the word. Let's keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep together.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you in the next deep dive.